Hello, Dave here from Geeky Guys, and I'm sure that you've realised from the credits roll that's just gone through that we're talking about and indeed celebrating the 30th anniversary of the video game Duke Nukem 3D from the Duke Nukem series that came out on PC and DOS in the mid-90s. It was originally started being worked on in 1994 and then we had a shareware version in early 96 and a few months later the full release. But I thought let's come on and celebrate it as it was the 30th anniversary about a couple of weeks ago, 29th of January, and it's a game that I played quite a bit when I was younger, when I was a teenager, and it's one of the best probably first person shooters of all time. I mean, there's a lot of people will say, you know, the likes of Doom and Quake and Half-Life, things like that, but it probably still is one of the best. And I think because one of the reasons that is because it was so different to what had come before and what has come since. Really, nothing's really been exactly the same as that. It was produced, made by 3D Realms, Apogee Software, and FormGen. It was produced by Greg Malone, and it was designed by some well-known names in the video game designing world, Alan H. Blum III and Richard Gray, with Todd Replogle, I think that's how you pronounce it, doing the programming, and obviously the excellent heavy rocky nice kick-ass soundtrack as well, music in the game that was composed by Lee Jackson and Robert Prince. The basic premise of the game is set in the 21st century, and it's about the titular character Duke Nukem, who is kind of based on, I would say, probably a mix of like Charles Bronson, Ash Williams from the Evil Dead series. There's links with also the character in They Live as well, and Arnold Schwarzenegger probably thrown in there as well. So you kind of got like this kick-ass cigar smoking, doesn't give a crap kind of guy. Comes out with all kinds of hilarious vulgarities, and yeah, he's just in there for kicking ass and chewing gum and chatting up some ladies and kicking some alien ass, quite frankly. But yeah, it was I say made by all those companies who went on to do other things as well, have been very successful since then. It was made with the build engine created by Ken Silverman, and it was very different from, as we said, the aforementioned similar games like Doom and things like that, because it had like the kind of cityscape rather than just like the alien basement kind of thing you had in Doom and this space station thing. This was kind of like, you know, the mean streets of LA. You had like a cinema, you had a strip club, you had a sushi bar, you had another kind of like standard like city bar, space station, baseball field, I believe, as well, where you fight one of the bosses. But it was just very different to what we'd seen with those earlier first-person shooters, especially with Wolfenstein 3D, which came out just before Duke Nukem 3D as well, where they just started to kind of start talking about some of the things which they ended up doing in Duke Nukem first. And I say, like, obviously the cityscapes, the more detailed areas that you could wander around, had the slanted roofs. They also had where you could look up and down in the game, which wasn't prevalent on other first-person shooters before or around that time. Obviously something that we take for granted now, but back then, you know, you would just left, right, shoot, that was it. In that, you could actually have a bit more sort of awareness, spatial awareness of the environment that you was in. So that was excellent, and you could look up and shoot things as well, which you know, rather than just reeling back to get them on the screen to shoot. So that was a very cool addition that the designers brought to the game. And a lot of the things that they wanted to put into Wolfenstein 3D ended up in Duke Nukem 3D, because they kind of looked at the notes of what they were wanting to do and worked out how to do it. It had not been done before, but basically they worked out how to do that. The titular character, Duke Nukem, was also voiced by John St. John, who also made the character very popular and was very memorable, with the deep, dulcet tones that he did for the character was spot on and was funny and hilarious, and people just loved it and liked it up. And he's been to many conventions and events over many years since, and people still love him, still get him to do the voice. Although I did see an interview with him the other day where he says he's now monetized it, and he says, yes, I'll do the voice and some of the phrases for you, but book it on my Cameo. So, you know, that's good there, that he's making a bit of money from it and not just doing it for free, but he's still happy to do it for a price. So yeah, that's a lot of fun. I'm glad that he's doing that. I mean, the game actually began before then, in the earlier 90s, where they just had the Duke Nukem platformer, which was very much just run and gun, left and right, up and down, general platforming game, which was fine, which was fun. Obviously nothing like this, like full 3D version, which, you know, was the really one that kicked it, and really what did make it popular and make it good and seminal. But that's what it came from originally, and they worked on the character as well, and the type of attitude he had and what he was like, from those platform games, and then brought that into the 3D version and added more to it, including, as I say, John St. John doing the voice. There wasn't many games, especially first-person shooters at that time, that had voice in the game. You'd have a bit of music, a bit of gunshots, and maybe some creatures roaring or something. That'd be about it. But you get all kinds of different noises in Duke Nukem. So the great voice of John St. John. You also get loads of different varied alien noises, all the different weapon noises, the stomping noises with his mighty boot, and all the, you know, really funny, popular phrases that they had in the game as well, which I'm sure you'll be well aware of, and I'm not going to go through them all now. But yeah, there was a lot of very funny ones in there, and if you haven't checked it out, definitely go onto YouTube, and there's lots of videos that go through all that. Basically, the story of the game was that it was set straight after Duke Nukem 2, the platformer. He's travelling in his spaceship, wants to come back to Earth, to LA, to have a bit of downtime and relax. And he finds LA in meltdown, quite literally. It's full of aliens, full of alien scum. Some of the police officers have been mutated into alien pigs, and it's a bit of a mess. So he's got to go down and sort it out, and they shoot his spaceship down, so he's not going anywhere else anyway. But yeah, has to go down and sort it out and shoot lots of different aliens and weird mutated creatures and big massive mutated giant creatures, as well, as I mentioned earlier with the baseball field. They have a massive one on there that you have to fight, which is quite interesting and quite good fun. The levels in the game were designed interestingly as well. It was quite a non-linear manner, where players could like use air ducts to travel between buildings, back doors, sewers. You could even find hidden caches, which they had done in other games as well, like Quake, where you could find secret doors and secret like holes to other places, like below the bit where he was, or behind a wall, or behind a secret door. So they did that in Duke Nukem as well. Quake's another one at the time that brought in a load of new technology, lots of very intelligent, very smart programmers, and they just added to that. And I think Quake and Duke Nukem 3D were just showed you the way it was going after Doom and Wolfenstein, and just how big these games were going to become, and how bright and interesting and amazing, what levels you could have. And they also had a very big, back in the day, community building their own levels as well for a lot of these games. I think they did it for all of them eventually, but there was a big builders community for Duke Nukem. I remember a mate of mine, Steve, invited me around to his one afternoon, and he'd found somebody had made like the Starship Enterprises level on Duke Nukem, which was mad. I don't know why, but I loved it. It was great. You could wander around the Enterprise in the corridors and on the bridge, and yeah, it was good fun. They used to do a lot of fun things like that in the community. It was really good. They also had things in the game that you could interact with as well, like light switches that you could turn on and off. You had arcade machines that you could play on in the game. And they even had things like fire hydrants you could kick, and like water would spray out, and like some of them would give you health. Some things you did destroy, like bits of the level, like bits of light, bits of wall, and they might reveal something hidden, or might just be nothing at all. It's just the fun of doing the damage. But they did a lot of that, which was good fun. Even like water fountains as well. And there was also they got in a bit of trouble for this, but they also had like obviously like the strip club in there, and they had like strippers that you could go and speak to and tip, and you get a quote from Duke as well, and a provocative reveal from the dancer. That was always good fun. You could go and like watch some kind of adult cartoon movie at the cinema on first level, and you could shoot through the screen. That'd give you like a secret cache of stuff, of weapons and ammo you could pick up. And in terms of Duke's weapons, you had the mighty foot where you could kick people and kick things. You could also use it to stomp on aliens or mutated creatures when you used the shrink ray on them, which was good fun. And that had a nice satisfying crunch noise as well. And they also had the main pistol that you started the game with, a shotgun, a triple-barreled chain gun, rocket-propelled grenade launcher. That was always good fun, very overpowered. Pipe bombs, which were good, remote control explosives that you could throw and explode, take people out in the distance, and the rapid-fire Devastator rocket launcher as well, which was good fun. And the game over the time contains quite a few humorous references to pop culture as well. Some of Duke's lines, in fact, drawn from movies such as like Aliens and Dirty Harry, Evil Dead 2, Full Metal Jacket, Jaws, Pulp Fiction, They Live, as I mentioned earlier. And the captured women who say kill me is a reference to Aliens as well. And you'll also, during the game, you encountered corpses of famous characters as well from pop culture in the game, such as Luke Skywalker, Indiana Jones, Snake Pilkington, the protagonist of Doom, and a smashed T-800, which was good fun as well. In the first episode, players actually navigate a tunnel in the wall of a prison cell, hidden behind a poster, just like in the Shawshank Redemption. And during the second episode, players can see a monolith from a 2001 Space Odyssey movie on the moon that you can use and teleport from there to complete the level. And it was the whole game was completed on a very lowly budget as well, at only 300,000, which was probably a bit in the day, but it's like nothing now. The development team consisted of 8 people for most of the development cycle, but it increased to 12 or 13 people towards the end. So still quite a very small team, especially by today's standards, where there'd be 30 plus minimum working on these games. And I remember they said as well, Scott Miller of 3D Realms recalled that with Duke 3D, unlike every other shooter that came before it, we wanted to have real life locations in the game, like cinema, theatre, strip club, bookstores. They wanted all of that, and I think that made a big difference to the game. It just made it very different and a lot of fun and funny and hilarious, and still a good shooter as well, still a great action game, and very much based on the action movies of the day, like Demolition Man with Wesley Snipes and Sylvester Stallone, and then also like Last Action Hero with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and as I say, They Live as well, Evil Dead 2. All of those went into it, and if you've got a good mix of like great films like that, it's going to be good what you're doing with it if that material is going into it. So yeah, as I say, we had the shareware version of the game in January 96, and the game came out fully, the full version, in April 96. And I say 30 years ago, a couple of years ago, say a couple of weeks ago. Sorry. So yeah, it's mad. 30 years. You know, I was like 15, 16 when it came out. And one of my funny recollections of the game is, as I mentioned, me and my mate Steve earlier played quite a bit of that, quite a bit of Quake, quite a bit of Doom, quite a few of those types of games. And we decided one day that we'd have a big matchup big like co-op, but we had to do local co-op because back in the day online gaming was only just starting off. It was very difficult to connect to each other's PCs. It was also very slow with the 28k and the 56k modems. And so what we decided to do is connect via serial cable, which was a good workaround, made it quick. It was fairly reliable, a bit more reliable than the internet, and it worked. Now, as I say, as I was saying, I was sort of 14, 15 at the time. I was still at school. So one day we decided that we'd get Duke Nukem installed in the computer room, the IT room. So there's about probably 6 to 8 computers. We went in there on our break, installed it, got the serial cables out. How he got hold of that many serial cables, I don't know. I don't know whether he had them at home or he bought extra. But we connected all these PCs up and then invited people to come and play Duke and fight against each other. And as you can imagine, madness and craziness ensued, and a lot of very vulgar, exotic language as well. As you can imagine, the teachers were delighted. Not at all. They didn't like it. They didn't like the swearing. They didn't like the violence. They didn't like the fact that it was making all of us like loud and arguing and shouting at each other. So it didn't last for long. I think we got maybe one session and then a secret quit one in, and that was it. No more Duke. You can't do that anymore. So yeah, we kind of got banned from Duke Nukem 3D at school, which was a shame because it was good fun. That was really good, and it made us, you know, quite popular for a while because we got this new game that was like amazing. Everybody could play and fight against each other. It was amazing, especially back in that day as well, at that time as well, in like 95, 96. Amazing. So yeah, but good memories of it. A lot of good memories of the game, and people still like it now. And as you'll see from a picture I'm going to put up in a minute, people are actually playing it these days as well. I mean, there's so many ways you can play it. You can play it on your PC, yes. You can get a DOS emulator and play it. That's certainly what I've done. And you can play it on handhelds as well. So there's like no barrier to entry. If you've got one of these emulator based handhelds like RetroArch or whatever you've got, you can play a lot of these games, and you can play Duke. So I'll put a picture up in a minute of an Ammunic device running Duke Nukem 3D. So I love that. I love the fact that it's stayed with us all these years, and it keeps coming back, and new people are going to be discovering it and keep talking about it. And maybe one day we will get the Duke Nukem movie. It's been muted a few times and then not really gone anywhere, so it'd be nice if we get that one day, or even an animated series. We'd frankly take that, or a TV series on Prime. Anything, it'd be really good fun. But yeah, an excellent game, very seminal, certainly in its genre, first person shooters. You know, and there's obviously a lot after that have come and gone. None have really quite, I mean, they've been popular, of course, like I mentioned earlier. Half-Life was very popular, but I don't think any quite got the love and respect that Duke Nukem 3D got. And a lot of people like Quake, a lot of people like Wolfenstein, a lot of people like Doom, but I think Duke Nukem has that special place in people's minds and people's hearts that the others just, they ain't going to get there. And if they do, great. Another great game like that would be fantastic. But yeah, Duke Nukem 3D, 30 years old. Do I feel old? Yeah, a bit I do actually, unfortunately. But yeah, such a good and fun game. So many things you could say about it. I mean, they did actually bring out a next game on from that. They did bring out Duke Nukem Forever, which was in 2011. Which was all right. I mean, it carried on in the same vein. It probably didn't. Well, it didn't hit the heights of the first one, and it was all right. People were happy to play a new Duke Nukem game, to be honest. So it was good. It came out. It didn't hit the heights of the other. It didn't put itself on a pedestal like the other one did. But yeah, as we say, we was all happy to play because it was a new Duke Nukem game, and it's still fun, still action packed, still had the voice of John St. John. So yeah, it was good, and we liked it and we appreciated it. But there's probably not been anything as good as the original Duke Nukem 3D since, and we're still hoping we'll get it. Still hoping that they did a couple of new Doom games not long ago. We had Eternal and the Dark Ages. So it'd be nice if we could have a new fully 3D, new modern Duke Nukem 3D game. That would be good fun. Get John St. John back to do the voice as well, of course. But that'd be a lot of fun. They did another one. They did a 5th installment as well, the 20th anniversary world tour, published by Gearbox Software, who we know of because of Gears of War. That was in October 11th, 2016. So the original shareware version was January 29th, 1996. That's like the 30-year anniversary that we're looking at. The full one was April 19th, 1996, the full version. So there'll probably be more celebrations in April, I should imagine, for the full version of the game. Yeah, I mean, it was released to major critical acclaim. Did win some awards, and yeah, I think that's all that we need to say about it. But it was good fun, great game. If you haven't played it, make sure you play it. And if you've got any thoughts, any memories of Duke Nukem 3D, obviously leave them down in the comments or contact us on our social media platforms. And always happy to talk about Duke 3D, always happy to talk about anything, to be honest, but some Duke chat would be good. And yeah, thanks for listening, if indeed you still are, and we'll catch you on the next video.